Do you question, is your twin flame your twin flame? Do sometimes you wonder, are you going crazy? Are you right? Is this wrong? Or is this, is this impossible? Who are they? Are they your twin? All this kind of stuff comes into your head. It's so confusing. But one thing that you will know for sure is when you look back on the moment you met or the moment you connected. What did that feel like? Was there instant recognition? Was there an instant familiarity? My name is Angela Cleary. I'm a feminine empowerment coach. I specialise in healing after narcissistic abuse, and I also offer twin flame and spiritual guidance. This is the thing. Your twin flame connection is not like anything you've ever experienced before. We can have many different soulmates throughout our lives. Like a soulmate can come in the form of a pet, friendship, family member, lover, whatever it is. So you kind of have these familiarities with a lot of people in your life. You feel like you've known that person a long time. But when it comes to your twin flame, there's a big difference. I don't know what it is, but it's just a massive soul recognition. For me personally, when I first heard my twin flame's voice on the phone, that was it. There was something there. I was like, and I'd been on the catalyst journey, so I was completely unavailable. Do you know what I mean? I was still doing my healing, I was still doing my work. So I thought my journey was over. I didn't really even know I was a calling soulmate. I didn't know what was going on. Genuinely, I didn't know what was going on. So when I heard his voice on the phone, I was like, there's just something straight away. And I remember getting off the phone, like, genuinely, this is going to sound weird. He's the same name as my ex, and I literally got off the phone. He was coming to install my broadband, like, so I was a complete stranger. And I literally got off the phone and goes, I'd just be weird to date another person with that name. And I genuinely was like, what are you doing? This is like, you're not going on a date. This is somebody coming to your house. Like, I'd already had 2 people call to my house previous, like, and one of them was in their 60s, one was in their at least 40s or 50s, like, so no, not my cup of tea. I was wearing my big ugly sweater and all this kind of stuff. So I was like, I wasn't genuine. I wasn't looking. So I wasn't going to be dressing up for the person that was coming to install my broadband. But that morning, I was literally like, first of all, I got off the phone thinking it'd be weird to date another guy with that name. And I was like, what? And I literally went about putting on my big ugly sweater. And I was like, don't do that. Don't put on that sweater. And I was like, why? Okay. And I looked down at my ugly, I was wearing slides. I was like, put on your runners. I was like, you're not going on a date. Do you know, genuinely, this has all happened before I met my twin flame. And then he knocked on my door. Actually, he rang a second time because he was at the neighbours instead. And genuinely, I was talking to somebody I'd known for 20 years. And I'd literally only had a brief conversation with him about 10 or 20 minutes earlier. And I was literally like speaking to this guy as if I know him my whole life. And then he arrived at my door, and the minute I looked at him, I was like, oh shit, he's cute. And like literally the whole interaction with him, it was just like, I didn't listen to a word he said. He's standing really close to me. I could feel his energy. I was just like, wow, just something here, like. And I got this energy. I could feel him telepathically as well. I got the energy that he felt something for me as well. And I was like, maybe he's going to ask me for my number, and he did. All of this happened, and like, it took me a while because, as I said, I wasn't even sure what part of my journey was on. I didn't know. I thought my twin flame journey was over. I had a catalyst experience with a friend, and I was convinced otherwise. It was just, yeah. So that morning, I look back and I see all of those synchronicities, all of those signs, all of those feelings, and I'm like, he was so familiar. There's something so familiar around him. Now, obviously, it took me a long time to understand that he was my twin flame. It took a long time. So it wasn't like straight away that I was like, oh yes, you're my twin flame. But straight away there was something there. Some kind of connection, some kind of bond, some kind of instant attraction. And I was identifying at the time as single but unavailable. So if anyone tried it on Facebook, a lot of people would text on Facebook and it's literally block and delete. And it's like, I'm not available. I'm just not available. I'm not dating. I'm not available. But the minute he asked me, was I single? I was like, yeah, I am. Yeah. And I was just like, what the fuck? Do you know what I mean? And I was just like, it was just, you see in movies, like, I love this as well. Like, in movies, like when somebody meets somebody that's their soulmate or their twin flame. And it's just like, this is a complete stranger, and they end up spending the whole day together. And it's just like, every time they ask you a question, like, it's like, if a stranger asked me to go and spend the day with them and do this and do that, I'd be like, no thanks. But you just keep saying yes, because it just feels right. Your soul is like saying, you have to do this. You have to do this. And I think that's what that's what can reassure us on this journey, because we can go through so many highs and lows. And as I said, it took me probably over a year to actually, after a while, I realized he was my twin flame. I could feel his energy. I could feel him telepathically, and I felt, well, he, there was a lot of separation very early on as well. So I could feel it when he texted and all that kind of stuff. But it did take me for about a year to actually kind of go, this is 100%, 100 million %. This is my twin flame. It took a few months, probably a couple of months into it, that I realized that he could be, or that maybe he was. And I just wanted to label it. I was just like, just don't label it. But what I'm trying to say is, like, we can go through so many doubts on our twin flame journey. It can take us a long time to confirm to ourselves that this is it. And even after we confirm, like, every time we go into separation, it's like, what if I'm wrong? What if I'm crazy? What if this isn't real? What if I'm wasting my time? But then you remember back to those moments, that instant recognition. And you realize that wasn't like any other connection or interaction or meeting you've ever had before with anyone. There was something profoundly otherworldly different in this. And then if you remember your, like, what I also resonate with is, like, the feeling you have when you're in their company. That feeling is so different. Like, there's a calm, peaceful, I don't know how to describe it. Just like, it's just calm and peaceful. I suppose that's the only way to say it. It's just like, you can have moments of chatting and chat like you've known each other for years, and moments of complete silence, and it feels so comfortable. Just this complete and utter, I'm with the right person. And I think that's the most beautiful feeling of reassurance that we can have on this journey, is how do you feel in their presence? Not how do you feel in separation, because when we're in separation, we can go through anger, we can go through frustration, we can go through heartbreak, we can go through unworthiness. How do you feel in their presence? And like, you can compare it to a soulmate, or you can compare it to your teenage years or whatever. When you're with somebody where it's just lust, or it's based on past trauma, or it's an unhealthy attachment, there's this kind of nervous energy all the time. It's like, I'm so nervous, I don't know what to do. Whereas with your twin flame, it's like, literally, it's just normal. Like, I read this actually. It's a quote. It's like, Buddha says that if you meet somebody and you're shaking and your knees are shaking and you're all wobbly, it's like, oh my god, that's not your twin flame. When you I think they say soulmate, but like when you actually meet the true person for you, there's complete calm. And I used to get triggered by that. Because my cat list, I used to get nervous in front of him. Like, do you know what I mean? And we were only friends, like. Whereas, like, with my twin flame, and like, before I met my twin flame, I was like, oh no, it's not true. It's not true. And I was like, when I met my twin flame, I was like, so calm. It's just like, I just feel at peace. And I was just like, and it's funny because me and my twin flame, we're not exactly the same on paper. We have a lot of differences, but we have a lot of similarities as well. We have the same core soul energy, and some of his trauma is mirroring my trauma. It just looks different on the surface. But for two people who you wouldn't normally put together in a lineup kind of thing, you know what I mean? We wouldn't really match them. I'm tattoos and piercings. I didn't go to college. He's sporty and went to college and all that kind of stuff. Came from probably upper middle class, where I was probably lower middle class. Stuff like that. Like, there's complete opposites there. But yeah, you know what I mean? You think two people like that would have zero in common, but we actually have so much in common. And it's like, it's really comfortable to be in each other's energy. And it's just like, that's real. Like, if normally if you were with a person who is opposite to you on paper, they're usually opposite to you on a core soul level as well. So, like, I've been around non-spiritual people, and even before I became spiritual, you're around people and you just rub each other the wrong way. And it's just like, oh, I don't want to be near you because you're not the same as me. And it's just like, it was just like chalk and cheese. It just didn't work. And like, you know, normally, like, don't get me wrong, like the old version of me and I suppose the old version of my twin, we would have probably, we might not, well, we would have been attracted to each other, but we probably wouldn't have gelled personality-wise. But now we do. I know that sounds so weird, but my unhealed self wouldn't have matched his unhealed self. But we've both transformed and grown into our best selves because of the trauma we've been through. And we were not even just, you know, transforming into our true selves. And our true selves are completely connected, completely alike, completely the same. Do you know, so when I have doubts, when I go through any kind of uncertainty, I'll sit there and I remember everything from the first moment. And like, you can't magic something, but it was magicked. Like the universe knew that I was reclusive and I was still in hermit mode. I didn't go out, I didn't do dating sites, didn't do anything like that. Like, how is my twin flame supposed to enter my life? And a lot of people do connect online, but I wasn't, like, anyone who texted me online was getting blocked and deleted. It's just I wasn't, no. Just wasn't working for me. And I just wasn't interested in anyone. And like, for the universe, my broadband installation was delayed. It was delayed. There was two different people came out at different times, and then it was delayed it was cancelled a couple of times, all that kind of stuff, because it had to synchronize so that he would be the one to be here. So the universe literally said, you're ready for your twin flame connection now. We're going to land him at your door. Like, that's magic. How does that even happen? I live in the middle of nowhere. No one comes to my house unless it's a handyman or the plumber or something like that. Do you know what I mean? No one, like, and I genuinely had this vision one time of, like, literally my twin flame knocking on my front door. And I was just like, it happened. Do you know what I mean? And it's just like, how does that happen? Because it's aligned, because our souls were destined to meet. Like, we would have, and it's funny because it's actually, I didn't have broadband. I swore I didn't need broadband. I was doing live videos on Facebook through my mobile data, and literally I was like, I don't need broadband. But then I was like, yes, you need broadband for your business. You need broadband for your business. And I remember getting called by the broadband company, and I saying, I don't know. I don't really know. I don't think I need it right now. Maybe in a couple of months I'll need it. Maybe a couple of months I'll need it. I'll give you a ring back in a couple of months. So I was like, grand. And then I was like, the next day I got this urge, this guidance. It's like, ring the broadband people, ring them. And I was like, why? I just don't need it yet. I don't need it. Can I afford it? All this kind of stuff coming in. My fear again coming in, going, oh my God, don't do this. And I was just guided the next day to just ring them back and say, hey, I'm going to say yes to this broadband. It's going to take a couple of months anyway. So by the time I need it, it'll be here. And it took longer. I think that was February, and it took till April to come. But like, literally, I was guided to do this. Like, it was so synchronicity to get that phone call, and then for me to actually feel the urge to ring back, then for all of it to be delayed and all of it, you know, postponed, and all the work had to be done. It was just, everything aligned so magically. Like, that doesn't happen. That just doesn't happen. Like, it just doesn't. Magic only happens because magic is supposed to happen. So if you're having doubts, if you're having insecurities, if you're having those fear-based energies and asking yourself, is this real? Am I going crazy? And are you going through that unworthiness, as we always do? Think back on those moments. That moment of recognition, that moment of familiarity, that magic that's beyond anything you've ever experienced before. Because I think instant recognition it's the biggest reassurance that we have. And, you know, I've read before as well, so that, like, you know, sometimes instant recognition doesn't always happen instantly. What I mean by that is sometimes I've heard of people being twin flames for a long time and then being awoken to the fact that they're twin flames. So sometimes they probably would have had a sense of familiarity, that soulmate energy. They probably would have had that, but they probably weren't awakened to. Because I've seen twin flames in relationship who aren't awakened and they're in union but unawakened, and then they start to awaken in the relationship and everything kind of goes to shit, like, do you know, because there's a lot of turbulence and they have to do the healing. So, you know, don't be worried if it's not instant recognition, because for me it was instant recognition, but I didn't recognize instantly. I wasn't like, oh yes, this is my twin flame. I was in the energy of limbo. I was like, I don't even know what part of my journey I'm on. So I don't know if I was looking for a soulmate or a twin flame, but I wasn't even looking. I genuinely wasn't even looking. And it landed on my lap and I didn't want to label it. I was like, this feels twin flamey, but if I label it as twin flames and we're only soulmates, you know, I don't want to be disappointed. So I'm just going to not label it and I'm going to just see how it goes. But looking back on that day, it's just, you know, I've never had that kind of connection with somebody. Because when the first time we met up, like, as well, the chemistry was unreal. And I've never had that kind of chemistry with anyone. It was literally like eye contact and that was it. It was just, you know, in for the kill. Like, you know, I couldn't keep my hands off him. Like, it was just like literally this magnetic attraction, this magnetic pull. You know what I mean? And like, to have that with somebody, it's completely different to anything you've had before. You can look back on all your other relationships and you can't compare it. So that's another thing as well. If you're doubting your twin flame connection, if you're worried, is this real or not? Compare it. I hate saying compare because comparing is, I hate comparison. But like, look at your past relationships. Like, you know, you're like, your twin flame isn't my type. Your type was toxic. If you were in toxic relationships before, ask yourself, how does this make you feel compared to that relationship? Like, how do you feel going into this? How do you feel with this person? Is it different? Are they different? Because look, if you've had a bad history of dating and you haven't evolved out of that, then you're going to attract the same kind of person. But if you're attracting somebody who looks so different to you, but yet you feel so good with them, then that's proof in itself. This is my person. You know what I mean? If it's nothing like your past, then it's your person. If it makes you feel really alive and good, then this is your person. And I'm not on about the in-betweens where we have to heal. I'm on about the moments of recognition, those moments of serenity in each other's company. You know, how you align, how you connect, those moments. So remember those moments when you have doubt. Remember those moments when you're feeling any kind of uncertainty, because that's what I do to reassure myself. Is literally I look back and I'm like, this is real, because you can't, like they say, like, lightning doesn't strike twice, but magic doesn't strike twice. That's the way I see it. Like, the universe cannot create something so profoundly otherworldly magical and recreate that, because you can't have two twin flames. You just can't repeat that energy. So, like, you know, I'm sitting here kind of going, if I was wrong, the universe would have brought somebody else in. They would have. You know, if they can magic somebody arriving at my door, then why can't they do it twice? If it's supposed to happen twice, it's not supposed to happen twice. So trust in that magic, trust in that recognition, trust in what your soul feels with their soul. What does it feel like to be in their company? What does it feel like to look in their eyes? What does it feel like to be in their presence? Because that's your truth. So thank you so much for listening today, and I really hope this resonates. If it does, please like and share, and please subscribe to my channel so I can reach as many people as possible. And if you'd like help on your journey, please book me for a free discovery call today. There's nothing more than to help in your path. Also, I have another channel called Aligning with Angie, where I share a guided meditation every week. The info for that is in the description box. And I'm also hosting a free feminine empowerment workshop today at 6 p.m. Ireland UK time. If you want info for that, please comment below.